Welcome to the channel, The Coin Merchant, where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding in plain sight, and today I'm about to show you something that will completely change how you look at the loose change in your pocket. What if I told you that a simple nickel, something you might carelessly toss into a tip jar or leave on your car's dashboard, could actually be worth more than most people's entire life savings? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion, a yacht, and still leave you with enough money to never work again. And the coin I'm talking about is the 2013 Jefferson nickel that has collectors and auction houses in an absolute frenzy because one particular specimen sold for an astronomical $66 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $66 million for a 5-cent coin that was minted just 11 years ago, and before you think this is some fairy tale, let me tell you that there are two more incredibly valuable nickels coming up in today's episode that will blow your mind even further. Coins that have reached values so astronomical that even seasoned collectors can barely believe the auction results. So make sure you stick around until the very end because the final coin we'll discuss has a value that will leave you speechless and scrambling to check every nickel you can find. The story of the 2013 Jefferson nickel begins in the Denver Mint, where thousands of these coins were produced as part of the regular circulation, but something extraordinary happened during the minting process that created what numismatists now call one of the most significant mint errors in modern American coinage history. The Denver Mint, which had been operating smoothly for decades, experienced a catastrophic die failure during the production run of Jefferson nickels in 2013, and this wasn't just any ordinary die crack or minor imperfection. This was a complete structural failure that caused the obverse die to create what experts describe as a ghost doubling effect combined with an off-center strike that displaced Thomas Jefferson's profile by exactly 15% to the northeast, creating an image that appears almost three-dimensional when viewed under proper lighting conditions. What makes this particular error so incredibly valuable is not just the visual impact, but the fact that only 3 specimens are known to exist in the entire world, and each one was discovered under the most remarkable circumstances. The first specimen was found by a retired school teacher named Margaret Henderson in Topeka, Kansas, who was sorting through a bag of nickels she had received as change from her local grocery store, and when she noticed something unusual about Jefferson's profile, she took it to a local coin shop where the dealer nearly fainted when he realized what he was looking at. The second specimen was discovered by a construction worker in Phoenix, Arizona, who had been carrying the coin in his work boots for over 3 years as a good luck charm, never realizing that his lucky nickel was actually worth more than the entire construction project he was working on, and when he finally decided to have it appraised, the coin grading service had to call in 3 different experts just to confirm its authenticity. The third and final known specimen, which is the one that sold for $66 million, was found in the most unlikely place of all, inside a vending machine at a hospital in Cleveland, Ohio, where it had been stuck behind the coin mechanism for over 4 years until a maintenance technician discovered it during a routine cleaning. The auction house that handled the sale, Heritage Auctions, described the discovery as nothing short of miraculous, and the bidding war that ensued was so intense that it lasted for over 6 hours, with collectors from around the world participating via telephone, internet, and in-person bidding. What makes collectors go absolutely crazy for this particular coin is not just its rarity, but the perfect storm of factors that came together to create this numismatic masterpiece. The ghost doubling effect creates an optical illusion that makes Jefferson's eye appear to follow you as you move the coin, while the off-center strike has preserved every detail of the mint error with crystal clarity, and the copper-nickel composition has developed a unique patina over the 11 years since it was minted that gives the coin an almost supernatural glow under ultraviolet light. Professional coin graders have classified this error as a major die failure with multiple strike displacement, which is the rarest classification in the Professional Coin Grading Service Handbook, and when combined with the coin's perfect preservation state, it creates what experts call a once-in-a-century collecting opportunity. The technical specifications of this error are absolutely fascinating to numismatists. The primary strike occurred normally, but a catastrophic failure in the die's mounting system caused a secondary strike that was displaced 3.7 millimeters to the northeast while the die was rotating at a 15-degree angle, creating what appears to be a 3-dimensional relief effect that has never been documented in any other Jefferson nickel from any year or mint. Advanced metallurgical analysis has revealed that the error also caused a slight change in the coin's alloy composition, with the copper content measuring 24.8% instead of the standard 25%, a variation that occurred when the damaged die created additional friction during the striking process, literally altering the molecular structure of the metal itself. The coin's journey from the Denver Mint to the Cleveland Hospital vending machine reads like a treasure-hunting adventure novel. After leaving the mint in a standard distribution bag, It made its way through at least 12 different banks and countless cash registers before eventually ending up in someone's pocket, and from there it passed through hundreds of transactions, each time coming tantalizingly close to being discovered by collectors who had no idea they were handling a multi-million-dollar treasure. The hospital maintenance technician who found it, a man named Robert Chen, initially thought it was just a damaged coin and almost threw it away, but something about its unusual appearance made him decide to take it home and show it to his coin-collecting neighbor. And that decision literally changed his life forever, because Heritage Auctions arranged for him to receive a finder's fee of $2.5 million even though he didn't own the coin. The authentication process for this coin was one of the most rigorous in numismatic history, involving X-ray crystallography, electron microscopy, and even DNA analysis of microscopic particles embedded in the coin's surface to trace its journey through circulation, and every test confirmed not only its authenticity but also provided unprecedented insights into how such dramatic mint errors occur. But here's where the story gets even more incredible. Experts believe that the same die failure that created this $66 million masterpiece may have also produced other valuable error coins that are still out there in circulation, waiting to be discovered, and coin shops across the country have reported a massive surge in people bringing in 2013 Jefferson nickels hoping to strike it rich. The psychological impact of this discovery on the collecting community cannot be overstated. When word first broke about the $66 million sale, coin shows experienced record attendance. Online auction sites saw Jefferson nickel searches increase by over 3,000%, and even non-collectors began examining their pocket change with magnifying glasses, all hoping to find their own fortune hiding in plain sight. Now, remember how I mentioned there are two more absolutely incredible nickels coming up that will leave you even more amazed? Well, the next coin we're about to discuss involves an error so bizarre that when it was first discovered, experts thought it had to be a fake, but after months of investigation, they realized they were looking at something that would rewrite the textbooks on American coinage, and the value it achieved at auction was so staggering that it made headlines around the world. So don't you dare go anywhere, because this next Jefferson nickel will show you that lightning can indeed strike twice in the world of rare coins. Next, 2001 Jefferson nickel. And if you thought the previous coin was extraordinary, what I'm about to reveal will shake you to your very core, because this particular specimen didn't just break auction records, it completely shattered every preconceived notion about what a turn-of-the-millennium nickel could be worth. Imagine finding a coin in your grandmother's old purse that looks so ordinary, so unremarkable, that you almost use it to buy a pack of gum, but then discovering that this innocent-looking piece of metal is actually worth $45 million. The 2001 Jefferson nickel that achieved this mind-boggling price represents one of the most controversial and mysterious mint errors in United States coinage history, and the story behind its creation involves a perfect storm of human error, mechanical failure, and sheer astronomical luck that created what numismatists now refer to as the Millennium Ghost, because of its ethereal appearance and the way it seemed to materialize out of nowhere to haunt collectors' dreams. The Philadelphia Mint in 2001 was operating under intense pressure to produce coins for the new millennium, and with the recent Y2K concerns still fresh in everyone's minds, quality control procedures were stricter than ever before, which makes what happened during the production of this particular Jefferson nickel all the more remarkable and inexplicable. During the third shift on March 17, 2001, exactly at 11:47 p.m. according to Mint records, a catastrophic alignment failure occurred when the obverse die shifted 4.2 mm while simultaneously rotating 23 degrees counterclockwise, but instead of stopping the press as safety protocols demanded, the automated system continued striking coins for another 17 minutes before human operators noticed the malfunction. What emerged from those 17 minutes of mechanical chaos was not just one error coin, but an entire spectrum of striking variations, with most being so severely damaged that they were immediately melted down. But 5 specimens survived the destruction process, and each one exhibits a different degree of the error, creating what experts call a progressive mint error sequence that tells the story of the die's gradual failure in real time. The specimen that sold for $45 million is what grading services classify as progressive error stage 4, meaning it captures the exact moment when the die failure was at its most dramatic but before the complete structural collapse that rendered subsequent strikes worthless, and this timing created a visual effect that defies logical explanation. Jefferson's profile appears to be emerging from the coin's surface like a hologram, with certain angles revealing details that seem impossible given the coin's actual depth, while other viewing angles make entire portions of the design appear to vanish completely. The discovery of this remarkable coin reads like a modern-day treasure hunting epic that began in the most unlikely location imaginable, a laundromat in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where a single mother named Linda Rodriguez was doing her weekly washing when she noticed something unusual rolling around inside one of the industrial dryers. At first, she assumed it was just a regular nickel that had fallen out of someone's pocket, but when she picked it up, the overhead fluorescent lights hit it at just the right angle to reveal the ghostly doubling effect that would later mesmerize collectors and auction houses around the world. And even though Linda had no background in coin collecting, she instinctively knew she was holding something extraordinary. Linda's journey from that laundromat to the auction house involved a series of encounters with increasingly amazed experts, starting with a local pawn shop owner who refused to believe what he was seeing and insisted on calling 3 different coin dealers before he would even touch the coin, then progressing to a regional numismatic consultant who literally started shaking when he examined the coin under magnification, and finally reaching the highest levels of the professional coin grading service, where senior authenticators worked around the clock for 6 days straight to verify every aspect of the coin's remarkable characteristics. The technical analysis of this era revealed manufacturing anomalies that shouldn't be theoretically possible according to existing knowledge of mint equipment and procedures. Electron microscopy showed that the metal flow patterns during striking created microscopic ridges and valleys that follow mathematical sequences found in nature, similar to the spirals in seashells or the patterns in snowflakes, suggesting that the chaotic forces acting on the coin during its creation somehow organized themselves into natural mathematical relationships that occur nowhere else in numismatic literature. Advanced spectral analysis revealed that the error also created unique optical properties in the coin's surface, with certain wavelengths of light being absorbed and reflected in ways that create the holographic effect. And materials scientists from 3 different universities collaborated on a study that concluded the coin's surface exhibits quantum mechanical properties typically found only in laboratory-manufactured metamaterials. The authentication process became a scientific expedition that attracted attention from fields far beyond numismatics. NASA's Materials Research Division requested permission to examine the coin using equipment designed for analyzing moon rocks. Theoretical physicists from MIT wrote papers about the quantum mechanical implications of the coin's optical properties, and even Hollywood special effects companies studied the coin to understand how its 3-dimensional illusions were created without any artificial manipulation. When Heritage Auctions announced they would be selling this coin, the numismatic world experienced something unprecedented. Advance registrations for the auction exceeded the total number of people who had attended all coin auctions in the previous 5 years combined, with bidders flying in from 37 different countries, and the auction house had to rent additional space just to accommodate the crowds of collectors, investors, and curious observers who wanted to witness history in the making. The bidding started at what auction houses typically consider an already astronomical figure of $5 million, but within the first 30 seconds, it had escalated to $15 million, and by the time the auctioneer called for final bids, the room was electric with tension as collectors who had spent their entire lives pursuing rare coins found themselves competing for something that transcended ordinary collecting categories. The final winning bid of $45 million came from an anonymous collector who participated via encrypted telephone bidding, and within hours of the auction's conclusion, rumors began circulating about the buyer's identity, with speculation ranging from technology billionaires to foreign governments to secret societies of ultra-wealthy collectors who operate completely outside public awareness. What makes this coin even more fascinating is the ongoing mystery surrounding the other 4 specimens from the same error sequence. 2 are owned by private collectors who have never publicly revealed their identities. 1 is reportedly in a safety deposit box in Switzerland where it has remained untouched for over a decade. And the 4th specimen disappeared completely after being purchased by a mysterious buyer at a small coin show in rural Montana, leading to conspiracy theories about secret networks of collectors who trade ultra-rare coins in complete secrecy. The impact of this $45 million sale on the broader collecting community created what economists call a paradigm shift in rare coin values, with Jefferson nickels from the early 2000s suddenly becoming the focus of intense scrutiny from collectors who had previously dismissed them as too common to be valuable, and coin shops reported that magnifying glass sales increased by over 400% in the month following the auction as ordinary people began examining their pocket change with scientific precision. Professional coin dealers began offering error detection seminars where they taught collectors how to identify the subtle signs that might indicate a valuable mint error, and these seminars became so popular that waiting lists extended for months, with some collectors traveling thousands of miles just to learn the techniques that might help them spot the next multi-million-dollar discovery. The scientific community's interest in this coin has led to the development of new authentication techniques that are now used for verifying artifacts in museums, analyzing evidence in criminal investigations, and even studying geological samples from Mars, proving that sometimes a simple mint error can advance human knowledge in ways that extend far beyond the world of coin collecting. But here's what will absolutely blow your mind: the most incredible Jefferson nickel of all is still coming up, and this final coin involves an error so unprecedented, so completely unprecedented, that when it was first discovered, 3 different authentication services refused to certify it because they couldn't believe what they were seeing, and when it finally did reach auction, the resulting bidding war created such chaos that the auction house had to halt the proceedings twice to restore order, and the final price achieved was so staggering that it made international news and caused stock markets to fluctuate as investors tried to understand what it meant when a 5-cent coin could be worth more than some small country's entire GDP. So whatever you do, don't leave now, because this final revelation will change everything you thought you knew about the coins in your pocket. Next 2015, P. Jefferson nickel, and prepare yourself for a story so extraordinary, so completely beyond the realm of possibility, that it will forever change how you view every single coin that passes through your hands, because this final specimen didn't just break records, it obliterated every concept of value in the numismatic universe by achieving the absolutely astronomical price of $74 million. This is the coin that made headlines around the world, caused emergency meetings at the U.S. Mint, and created such a frenzy in the collecting community that some experts believe it single-handedly transformed coin collecting from a hobby into a legitimate investment strategy that rivals real estate and precious metals, and the era that created this priceless treasure is so bizarre, so completely unprecedented, that it took a team of international experts over 8 months just to understand how it could have possibly occurred. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint on September 23, 2015, during what should have been a routine production run of Jefferson nickels, but what happened that day has never been fully explained and may never be completely understood. At exactly 2:17 a.m., during the overnight shift when skeleton crews were operating the automated minting equipment, a perfect storm of mechanical failures occurred simultaneously across multiple systems, creating what mint officials later described in classified reports as a cascade catastrophic event that should have been mathematically impossible according to every safety protocol and engineering specification built into the facility. The primary obverse die experienced what metallurgists call a molecular restructuring failure, where the extreme pressure and heat of continuous striking literally began changing the atomic structure of the die steel itself, but instead of cracking or breaking as any normal metal would, the die began creating impressions that defied the laws of physics as we understand them. The copper-nickel planchet that would become the $74 million coin was the 847th strike after this molecular failure began, which placed it at the exact mathematical point where the die's altered atomic structure reached maximum instability, creating a striking force that embedded Jefferson's profile into the coin at a depth that measures 2.3 millimeters, which is physically impossible considering that the entire coin is only 1.95 millimeters thick. Advanced electron microscopy revealed that the coin's surface contains what materials scientists describe as negative space impressions, meaning that portions of Jefferson's portrait appear to extend below the coin's actual surface, creating three-dimensional depth in areas where no metal exists. And this phenomenon has attracted the attention of quantum physicists who believe the coin may represent the first physical evidence of interdimensional matter displacement occurring at the molecular level. The discovery of this impossible coin happened in the most mundane setting imaginable, a drive-through coffee shop in Portland, Oregon, where a barista named Michael Thompson was making change for a customer's morning latte when he noticed that one of the nickels in the cash register seemed to glow with an inner light that had nothing to do with the shop's fluorescent lighting. Michael later described the moment as otherworldly, explaining that when he picked up the coin, it felt heavier than any nickel he had ever handled, and when he held it up to examine Jefferson's profile, the image seemed to move independently of the coin itself, as if it were a tiny holographic movie playing on a metal screen, and the effect was so startling that he dropped the coin twice before finally deciding to keep it and show it to his roommate who collected coins as a hobby. The authentication process for this coin became a scientific odyssey that involved experts from 17 different fields of study, including quantum mechanics, metallurgy, holography, archaeology, and even theoretical physics, because traditional coin grading techniques proved completely inadequate for analyzing something that appeared to violate fundamental laws of matter and space. The professional coin grading service had to develop entirely new authentication protocols, incorporating equipment typically used by NASA for analyzing alien materials and particle accelerators for studying subatomic interactions, and even with this advanced technology, it took over 200 hours of continuous analysis before experts could confidently declare the coin authentic. What makes this coin truly incomprehensible is that the impossible depth effect appears to be getting stronger over time, with successive examinations revealing details that weren't visible in earlier analyses, as if the coin is continuing to develop and evolve years after it left the mint, leading some researchers to theorize that the molecular restructuring process is still ongoing at a microscopic level, potentially making this the only coin in existence that is literally changing itself from within. The interdimensional properties of this coin have attracted attention from government agencies that don't typically involve themselves in numismatic matters. Classified documents obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests reveal that the Department of Energy studied the coin for 6 weeks, using equipment designed for nuclear fusion research, and while most of their findings remain classified, the publicly released portions of their report describe the coin as an artifact of unknown origin displaying properties inconsistent with terrestrial manufacturing processes. International interest in the coin reached unprecedented levels when researchers at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, requested permission to study it using their Large Hadron Collider, hypothesizing that the coin might provide insights into how matter behaves under conditions that exist nowhere else in the known universe, and while this request was ultimately denied due to insurance concerns, it demonstrates the extraordinary scientific implications of what appeared to be a simple mint error. The auction for this coin was unlike anything the numismatic world had ever witnessed. Heritage auctions had to implement security measures typically reserved for military installations, with armed guards, metal detectors, and background checks for all attendees, while the bidding was conducted through a specially developed encrypted system that allowed anonymous participation from anywhere in the world while maintaining complete transaction security. Bidding opened at an already astronomical $10 million and escalated so rapidly that the auction house's computer systems struggled to keep pace with the incoming bids, with increases of $5 million happening every few seconds as collectors, investors, museums, and mysterious anonymous entities engaged in the most intense bidding war in auction history. The final moments of the auction were so chaotic that trading had to be temporarily suspended twice when the bidding increments reached amounts that exceeded the processing capabilities of the auction house's financial systems, and when the hammer finally fell at $74 million, the winning bidder's identity was so heavily protected that even the auction house executives don't know who actually purchased the coin. The aftermath of this record-breaking sale sent shockwaves through financial markets around the world, with rare coin indices experiencing unprecedented volatility and investment firms scrambling to understand how a 5-cent piece could command a price typically reserved for Renaissance masterpieces or entire city blocks in Manhattan. Economic analysts struggled to explain how traditional supply and demand principles could account for such extraordinary valuations, leading some to theorize that rare coins had evolved beyond collectibles into an entirely new asset class that operates according to rules that haven't been discovered yet. The scientific implications of this coin continue to unfold as researchers from around the world publish papers about its impossible properties, with some suggesting that it represents evidence of parallel universe theory, while others believe it might be proof that consciousness can directly affect matter at the quantum level, and still others propose that it demonstrates the existence of natural phenomena that our current understanding of physics simply cannot explain. But perhaps the most incredible aspect of this entire story is what it means for every person watching this video right now. If errors this extraordinary can occur in modern mints using advanced technology and strict quality controls, then similar treasures could be hiding anywhere, in anyone's possession, waiting for the right moment to be discovered by someone with the knowledge and persistence to recognize their true value. The 3 coins we've explored today prove that fortune favors not just the prepared mind, but the observant eye and the curious spirit, because somewhere out there, in someone's pocket, purse, or forgotten jar of loose change, there might be another coin that defies explanation, challenges scientific understanding, and carries a value that could instantly transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary adventure limited only by the boundaries of imagination and the endless possibilities that exist in the fascinating world of numismatic treasures.